Hello, this is Rashad Mitchell on the Mitchell Report for February 28th, 2015. It's a Saturday. First and foremost, I'd like to send my condolences to the family of Anthony Mason, who passed away way too soon at the age of 48. He had some heart trouble, congestive heart failure. It was stuff that I was reading that his son was saying that he was doing pretty good, like he was gonna survive this, but unfortunately things didn't go that way. So obviously they got heavy hearts. Supposed to respect their privacy. They deserve it, especially when anyone dies. But when you have a figure, a celebrity like Anthony Mason, an athlete, it's gonna be a lot of attention. But rest in peace to Anthony Mason. I used to be a Knicks fan myself. I remember Anthony Mason very well in terms of his physical presence. He was like a bodyguard to Patrick Ewing, along with Charles Oakley. And I remember those '90s Knicks, man. They were so tough, physical. They ain't take no crap from nobody. They gave those Bulls teams a lot of trouble. Michael Jordan and them. They were the team that really gave the Bulls a lot of trouble. They competed against them more than anybody else. They wanted to beat those Bulls with Jordan so bad, it's just that it didn't happen. '94, the Knicks beat them, but it would have been sweeter if Jordan was there. Game 7, we beat them in '94. But Mason was part of those teams where they were contenders. You look at the Knicks today, maybe younger kids today don't understand that the Knicks were competitive in the '90s. And Mason was a part of all of that. He wasn't the best offensive player, but he worked himself to be a good basketball player. Won Sixth Man of the Year in 1995. He did his thing. He made himself into a good player. He didn't go to a big college. He went to Tennessee State. He worked his way up. So rest in peace to Anthony Mason. He'll be missed. I was a Knicks fan back in the day. I've been stopped liking him, but I definitely remember Mace, man. He was the guy. The haircut styles that he had on the side of his head. That's something that's not going to be forgotten. He definitely brought that defensive, physical presence to the game of basketball with the Knicks. Wasn't pretty on offense, but it was effective to keep the Knicks contenders in the NBA, because the Knicks are not like what they was in the '90s. In the '90s, it was about the Knicks in New York doing their thing, competing with the Bulls, trying to win championships, trying to be the best in the league. It just they did with a different style when Pat Riley was a coach. Let's be honest, they didn't have a great offense. And Mason was on those teams that didn't have a great offense, but they were effective in ways other than offense. It was the defense. It was physical play. That's what Mason brought to the table. He was always a competitor. He was a guy that you want to have on your team. If you wanted to win a championship, he was the guy. He was the guy, definitely. So rest in peace to Anthony Mason. I wanted to start with continue on what I did yesterday with the black inventors, blacks who invented things in America. This is the final day of Black History Month. Again, every month is Black History. There have been countless blacks who have done things for America, not only just in February, but obviously in other months. But on this day, I'm going to take a look at and continue on what I was talking about when it comes to black inventors. Just bear with me for a second. I'm going to go to that website that I was on yesterday and take a look at the African American inventors, because this is important. The stuff that people have done people don't know about. And it's not the fault of blacks. I mean, it's just that people keep stuff out of, books. But I'm continue to do what I have to do to get it out there. For those who are listening right now on Spreaker. Now we're going to resume with a man named Dr. Daniel H. Williams. Now, Dr. Daniel H. Williams was a guy who was born in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, 1856. His invention was he performed the first open heart surgery. Think about that. He was a black physician who performed the first open heart surgery. He made history by doing that, and it was a success. He was the first person to ever perform the first successful open heart surgery operation. Not just perform the first open heart surgery, it was a successful one. Now, he was born in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania. He was the fifth of 8 children. His father was a barber who died when Daniel was only 9. His mother was unable to provide for all the children on her own, so she moved the family to Baltimore, Maryland, stayed with relatives. An apprenticeship with a shoemaker was found for Daniel. He remained there as a shoemaker's apprentice for 3 years while he was still a young child. As a teenager, he learned to cut hair and became a barber, living and working with a family who owned a barber shop in Janesville, Wisconsin. In Janesville, Daniel began to attend high school. He graduated from Harris Classical Academy in 1877. While working as a barber, he met Dr. Henry Palmer, a leading surgeon, who became the Surgeon General of Wisconsin. Dr. Palmer took Daniel on a medical apprentice. He had 2 other apprentices at the time. Dr. Palmer helped the 3 apprentices apply for admission to a top medical school, Chicago Medical School, which was affiliated with Northwestern University. All 3 were accepted and began their studies in 1880. Dr. Daniel Hale Williams graduated with his medical degree in 1883. So I salute Dr. Daniel H. Williams, the man who performed the first successful open heart surgery. Salute you, Daniel Williams. Next week, I'm going to look at Dr. James H. West. Dr. James E. West. Beg your pardon. He was born in Prince Edward, Prince Edwards County, Virginia, in 1931. His invention was the electric microphone. This is a man who invented the microphone. 90% of microphones that are used today are based on the ingenuity of James Edward West, an African American inventor born in 1931. Now, if you ever talked on the telephone, you've probably used his invention. West started at Bell Labs as an intern and joined them full-time in 1957. After graduating from Temple University as the inventor of the microphone, James West has received numerous awards and honors, included a Fellow of IEEE, Industrial Research Institute's 1998 Achievement Award, 1995 Inventor of the Year from the state of New Jersey, and induction in the Inventors Hall of Fame in 1999. James E. West holds 47 U.S. patents and more than 200 foreign patents from his 40-year career with Bell Laboratories. Dr. Richard Drew He was born in Washington, D.C. on June 3rd, 1904. He passed on April 1st, 1950. Now, Richard Drew's invention was he improved the techniques for blood storage. Now, he researched in the field of blood transfusions, developing improved techniques for blood storage, and applied his expert knowledge to developing large-scale blood banks early in World War II. This allowed medics to save thousands of lives of the Allied forces. The research and development aspects of his blood storage work is disputed. Drew protested against the practice of racial segregation in the donation of blood, as it lacked scientific foundation and action, which cost him his job. But in 1943, Drew's distinction in his profession was recognized when he became the first black surgeon selected to serve as an examiner on the American Board of Surgery. Now, Drew was born to Richard Y. Drew and Nora Burrell in Washington, D.C. He attended Meads Mill Elementary School and began working as a paperboy selling copies of the Washington Times-Herald while attending school. In 1918, he enrolled at Dunbar High School, a racially segregated high school with a reputation for being one of the strongest academic black public schools in the country. Drew's sister Elsie, who was ailing with tuberculosis, died of pandemic influenza in 1920. Her death was said to influence his decision to study medicine. His athletic achievements helped win him a partial scholarship to Amherst College in Massachusetts. Drew became a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Inc. He did graduate work at McGill University, Montreal, and Columbia University, where he earned his PhD. Now, the next invention was from a person named Dr. Shirley Jackson. Before I go into Shirley Jackson, I salute Richard Drew. Now we're going to look at Dr. Shirley Jackson. Shirley Jackson was born in Washington, D.C. Now, this is a lady that invented a lot of stuff. She invented the portable fax, the touch-tone telephone, solar cell, and the fiber optic cables. Think about that. 4 things she invented: the portable fax, touch-tone telephone, solar cell, and the fiber optic cables. 4 things. Jackson started to conduct successful experiments in theoretical physics and then started to use her knowledge in physics to start making advances in telecommunications while working at Bell Laboratories. These inventions include developments in the portable fax, touch-tone telephone, solar cell, and the fiber optic cables used to provide clarity in overseas telephone calls. She has also helped make possible caller ID and call waiting. So think about this. This is a lady that not only invented these 4 things, it's impacted the clarity in overseas telephone calls, but she made it possible for the caller ID to be possible and the call waiting to be possible. Dr. Shirley Jackson, a theoretical physicist and famous black inventor, has been credited with making many advances in science. She first developed an interest in science and mathematics during her childhood and conducted experiments and studies such as those on the eating habits of honeybees. She followed his interest to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where she received a bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degree, all in the field of physics. In doing so, she became the first African-American woman to acquire a PhD from MIT. Oh, I can't. Oh, yeah. No, that's not. No, because just, yeah, that's what the is the yeah, is it, yeah. Okay, we're gonna move on to Dr. Vivian T. Thomas. He was born in Iberia Parish, Iberia. That's in Louisiana. New Iberia. He was born in New Iberia, Louisiana, on August 29th, 1910. He passed away in 1985 on November 26th. Now, his invention was surgical tools, pioneering research in surgical shock and cardiovascular surgery. Now, he was a scientist and inventor. His family later moved to Nashville, Tennessee, where he was educated in the public schools, graduating with honors from Pearl High School. In 1929, after working as an orderly in a private infirmary to raise money for college, he enrolled as a pre-medical student at Tennessee Agriculture and Industrial College. The bank crash that year wiped out his life savings, forcing him to drop out of school in 1930. He took a position at Vanderbilt University as a laboratory assistant with Dr. Alfred Blaylock. Thomas' abilities as a surgical assistant research associate were of the highest quality. And when Dr. Blaylock moved to Johns Hopkins in 1941, he asked Thomas to accompany him. Thomas joined Dr. Blaylock's surgical team, which included the often honored cardiologist Dr. Helen Taussig, and in 1944 pioneered the field of heart surgery with the procedure to alleviate a congenital heart defect, the tetralogy of Fallot, also known as the blue baby syndrome. Sufferers face brutally short-lived expectancies. Working as a team, they developed an operation that would deliver more oxygen to the blood and relieve the constriction caused by the heart defect. Surgical technician Vivian Thomas helped train many other surgeons at Johns Hopkins in the delicate techniques necessary for heart and lung operations. Thomas was presented with the degree of Honorary Doctor of Laws by the Johns Hopkins University in 1976. He was a member of the medical school faculty in 1976 until he retired in 1979. Salute to Dr. Vivian T. Thomas. Next, Earl Lucas. This guy was born in 1970 in Dallas, Texas. Now, his invention was a designer. He is a designer for Ford Motor Company. He designs cars. That's why he's an inventor, because he is a designer for Ford Motor Company. Now, he was born in Dallas, Texas, went to Booker T. Washington High School, and was in the arts program. Initially, he was interested in the 3D process of making jewelry with metal at the College for Creative Studies in Detroit, Michigan. 2 years into the program, he switched from a crafts major to industrial design. However, he liked the field of transportation. In college, he and some of his classmates designed a van to transport elderly riders. That job led to a job designing car seats, panels for doors, and headliners for an auto supplier. Then he really got a dream job in Texas designing planes owned by the wealthy Sultan of Brunei. In the Sultan's planes, he used real gold, platinum, all kinds of precious jewel as a designer, as design manager for Ford. Lucas works with 3 or 4 car designers. Black Enterprise magazine notes that he is one of 25 to 30 African American car designers in the world. So I salute Earl Lucas. This guy was born in 1970s. This is not a guy born in 1800s. This guy invented something, designing cars. Salute to Earl Lucas. Next, Elijah McCoy. Elijah McCoy invented the oil dripping cup, which is the automatic lubricator for oiling the steam engines of locomotives and boats. Now, Elijah McCoy was an Afro-Canadian inventor and engineer. After studying engineering in Edinburgh, Scotland, and returning home to Canada, he found work as a fireman and oiler at the Michigan Central Railroad in a home-based machine shop in Ypsilanti. McCoy invented an automatic lubricator for oiling the steam engines of locomotives and boats. For this, he obtained his first patent improvement in lubricators for steam engines. On July 23rd, 1872, similar automatic oilers had been patented previously. One is the displacement lubricator, which had already attained widespread use and whose technological descendants continue to be widely used into the 20th century. Lubricators were a boon for railroads, allowing trains to run faster and more profitably with less than need to stop for lubrication and maintenance. Other inventors tried to copy McCoy's oil dripping cup, but none of the other cups worked as well as his. So customers started asking for the real McCoy. That's where the expression comes from. Salute to Elijah McCoy. Emmett Chappell. See how much I'll have left in this podcast. Still got time, okay? We're going to look at Emmett Chappell, born on October 25th, 1925. Chappell discovered that even one-celled plants such as algae, I don't know if I'm saying it right, which are lightweight and can be transported easily, can convert carbon dioxide to oxygen. This discovery helped to create a safe food supply for astronauts. Now, Emmett W. Chappell is a scientist who made valuable contributions in several fields: medicine, philanthropy, food science, and astrochemistry. From 1950 to 1955, he served as an instructor of biochemistry at Meharry Medical College in Nashville, Tennessee. From 1955 to 1959, he was research associate at Stanford University. Lonnie Johnson was a man that was born in Marietta, Georgia on October 6, 1949. He invented the Super Soaker water gun. The Super Soaker was a water gun that had a large reservoir where you could fill with lots of water, which gave kids endless amounts of fun. Now, Lonnie Johnson is best known as the inventor of the Super Soaker water gun, the top selling toy in the United States in 1991 and 1992. Over 40 million Super Soakers have generated over 200 million in sales since 1990. Today, many websites are devoted to them. Johnson is president and founder of Johnson Research and Development Company Incorporated, a technology development company and its spin-off companies Acceleration Solid State LLC, Johnson Electro-Mechanical Systems LLC, and Johnson Real Estate Investments LLC. Articles on Lonnie Johnson have appeared in numerous publications, including Time Magazine, the New York Times, and Inventor's Digest. Johnson serves on the board of directors of the Georgia Alliance for Children, an organization which serves as an informed and influential voice to protect the rights and interests of Georgia's less fortunate children. He is a board member of the Hank Aaron Chasing the Dream Foundation, has served on the board of directors of the Commonwealth National Bank in his hometown of Marietta, Georgia, February 25th, 1994. It was declared Lonnie G. Johnson Day in his honor. Salute to Lonnie Johnson. Almost done. The next person might be my last that I'm going to talk about, and it is Madam C.J. Walker, who was born in Delta, Louisiana, on December 23rd, 1867. Her invention was hair growing lotion. Developing hair products for black women, that was her invention. Sarah Breedlove, who later became known as Madam C.J. Walker, was born into a former slave family to parents Owen and Minerva Breedlove. She had one older sister, Lavinia, and brothers Alexander, James, Solomon, and Owen Jr. Her parents had been slaves on Robert W. Birney's Madison Parish farm, which was a battle-staging area during the Civil War for General Ulysses S. Grant and his Union troops. She became an orphan at age 7 when her parents died during an epidemic of yellow fever to escape the epidemic and failing cotton crops. The 10-year-old Sarah and her sister and moved across the river to Vicksburg in 1878. Obtained work as maids at the age of 14. Sarah married Moses McWilliams to escape her sister's abusive husband. They had a daughter, Lilia. When Lilia was only 2 years old, McWilliams died. Sarah's second marriage to John Davis on August 11, 1894 failed and ended sometime in 1903. She married for the third time in January 1906 to newspaper sales agent Charles Joseph Walker. They divorced around 1910. Fact, Walker grew up poor, but she became the first female African-American millionaire.